Welcome to the Writer's Way podcast, where we celebrate writers who have completed their books and inspire writers who haven't. Join Lori and her guests as they talk about writing, books, and life in between chapters.
Hey, listeners and watchers. Welcome to another episode of the Writer's Way podcast. I'm here with newly published Angela Murphy. Yay!
Hey!
Woohoo, look at that. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I wanted to have you on while it's also fresh and new.
It's so fresh.
So fresh. Why don't we start by just tell us who you are, your background, that kind of stuff.
Okay, I'm Angela Murphy, and I live in Chilliwack, British Columbia, with my husband and two dogs. I'm actually from Nova Scotia originally. That's where my parents are. But I am an educator. I was teaching in schools for 6 years, and then I became a school psychologist and complex trauma coach in the last 2 years, actually. So I work within a school mostly, so at a First Nations school here in British Columbia, and I'm so fortunate to be there full time. And then on the side, I do complex trauma work for children, usually children in foster or adoptive care. So I work with the caregivers of children who are in care primarily.
Oh, heavy.
Yeah. But it's great work.
We need people like you, so that's fantastic.
Thanks.
So was it that work that inspired you to write, or have you always, are you somebody with journals of stories?
I really think it was the work. I have kind of professional reasons and personal reasons behind my book writing, but mostly I've been teaching what I call the I message in classrooms for 12 years now. And every time I teach the lesson, so it's 3 steps to stand up for yourself in a positive way, I'm looking for books to go with the lesson, and I can never find anything on the iMessage. So then eventually, with the teaching and then working with kids in care and then getting my dog, so Zane was fostered and then adopted, that led me to writing my own book.
Yeah. I had a teacher on, also a Canadian teacher, in the fall, and so she teaches grade 3, and she said, there's no books on Peru because they have to teach that, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's
amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah, and so you're very similar. You wrote it.
And you're in Calgary, right?
I am just south.
So I was teaching in Calgary for my first 3 years, and I did teach grade 3 as well, and I was teaching Peru, and I could never find books.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Where were you in Calgary? Like north, south?
Wildwood Elementary.
Okay.
Southwest, I think. It's been a while. I moved 10 years ago, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the process. So you decided, hey, I could never find a book to help me with this lesson, so I'm going to write it.
That's right.
Where did you start?
Okay, so I had these ideas in my mind for over a year, I think, and I just was thinking, since it really came to fruition, I think, after we adopted Zane, and then I had been a year into the trauma work and noticing in the classroom that we were in need of more self-regulation books. So I started in March. I had March break. We went to Maui, which was amazing. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to start writing things down, actually. So I was there for about 10 days. I was writing things randomly, and then came back, and you offered your course, The Writer's Way. And it was perfect timing because it was April 4th. And it was an 8-week course. So I had just gotten back from March break, and then everything went from there.
Holy cow, that's fast. Like this year, 2019, you went to Maui and started writing.
Yes.
And where did you find me? Was it
I found you because I have your book, I Can Handle It.
Oh, right.
And I had taught a lesson, and then I have an Instagram account as well. So I had posted it. Sometimes I post teacher things on there and about my lesson that went with the book. And then I looked at your name and I found you actually, and I tagged you in it.
Okay.
And then I read your story that you were a kindergarten teacher, and I thought, wow, she did exactly what I want to do. How did she get there? And then I started asking you questions, and you were so friendly and getting back to me right away. And then you said, well, I'm giving this course soon, so let's do it. I said, yep. And for me, it was gold. I wouldn't be here without it. So
well, that's really fast. Like when I think about it, yes, I did it, but not as fast as you did it.
The ideas were in my mind for quite some time, though.
Yes.
So,
and then talk about the illustrator, because there's been a few people in the same course as you who were not as successful or as quick. And I think most of it has to do with the illustrator.
Right.
How did you find yours?
Okay, so my husband and I own a gym in town. It's called Murph's Gym. And the illustrator's name is Davis Graham. And he's a gym member, actually. Yeah, so he does incredible work. And I was following him through Instagram. It's called Pencil Fingers is his. So he sketches actual people. He had never sketched cartoon dogs before. So about a year ago, when I was thinking about this idea, I had nothing written down. I approached him at the gym, actually, and I said, hey, would you be interested in illustrating a children's book? And he was very interested. And then we talked before my March break, and he said, I have time in April. I said, perfect. So I'm going to start writing in March.
Yeah.
Get it down.
You had a deadline.
Yeah, I had a deadline.
How long did it take him to do the illustrations?
It took him 8 weeks. It was really quick.
Wow.
I'm just closing my door because the dogs are outside playing. I can hear them.
Okay, and why, so everybody has the choice, which character, how am I going to do my character? So you actually modeled your characters like they're your dogs, your own dogs.
That's right.
So was there a reason behind that decision behind dogs versus actual children?
Well, I was thinking, I know, being in the classroom for so many years, kids love animals, right? And I thought to myself, animals can be personified. And I bring Draper and Zane, those are the two main characters. They come to work with me. So either one or the other will come, and the kids just love dogs. Well, most of them. Yeah. And they connect that way. So I thought, they both have a story, actually, so it would be a great way to make a children's book.
Okay, cool. So is your book there? Can you hold it up?
Yes.
So we can see the illustrations. So good. Speak up, Wonder Pup.
Yes. Yeah, Davis Graham is incredible. He would meet with me just a couple times, and he took pictures of the dogs, and then he took some video. And then he did some research on dog anatomy just to make sure he was getting it right in the book. And I think he did an incredible job. Even in the
clothes that dogs wear. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Awkward. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, fight, flight, freeze. So Zane actually, he was born under a van in the winter time. And what's interesting about my dogs is they both have the same birthday, January 27th, but different years. And then what's really even more interesting is that my husband has the same birthday, January 27th.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild. So we celebrate.
How do you know when Zane was born if he was born under a van?
Yeah, so I know the owners of the mum, who is an outdoor dog. So they came to me and they said, she's having her second litter. Can you take them to the SPCA? And I said, definitely, because I have a friend who works at the SPCA. So what happened is usually the pups should stay with mom for, 6 to 8 weeks or so, but it was 4 weeks in and they needed to be taken to the SPCA right away. And I was able to do that. So, and then Zane was fostered for 2 months. We weren't expecting to get another dog, but we were kind of thinking about it for the summer. And then when they were ready, we went in May, I think, and Zane brought us his little green stuffy, and we were like, we had to leave with him. He's just so cute. Yeah. So yeah, and then Draper's 8, so he's a golden retriever, and he's been teaching him so many things, like how to sit, how to jump off the dock, how to swim. how to be patient. So I thought, oh, let's bring that into the book.
That's fantastic. Oh, wow. That's such a great story. Okay. As I wipe my tears away casually, because I'm like that. My issue. Can you share, so this was a very fast process, like really 8 weeks, but what were some of the ups and some of the downs? Because I'm assuming there was both.
Yes, there were. It was kind of like an emotional roller coaster because I think I am so passionate about it and it's my personal project and you kind of feel vulnerable putting yourself out there. So here I am with all of these ideas for over a year and now I'm actually going to put it out to the world. So it's it's nerve-wracking. So I remember even things like with the illustrator, so I have it written. I had this great editor through your course, which was amazing. And she was helping out and then, sending ideas to the illustrator, not knowing, not hearing from him for 5 days and kind of every day wondering like, I wonder what it looks like. And then eventually you get that one picture and it's like, okay. Right.
We're on track.
Yeah. So it's kind of been like this. And then I'm working full time too. So I'm trying to do my other work without being too involved in this, but it's hard, especially since I launched last Saturday on Amazon. So it's kind of taken over my brain a bit.
Yeah.
But it's in a good way. I think it's actually, it's stress, but it's good stress.
Mm-hmm.
And then the unknown, like I don't know what the future brings, but I'm looking forward to seeing where this takes me.
And now it's done. And are you breathing a sigh of relief or are you already like, now what?
A little bit of a sigh of relief. I know my plan for the next few months. I'm going to write the next 2 books. I have the titles already. They're more self-regulation strategies. And the illustrator isn't available until the fall to illustrate. So this is perfect because it'll give me time to write, put it through the editing process, and then once it gets to him, it'll be ready to be illustrated.
In the fall. And then what's your plan for publishing? So then like before the end of the year or early?
I'm hoping to publish my 2nd book in November.
Good.
Yeah, because I really do think, I love that this teaches the iMessage, but I'm hopeful that I'm looking forward to 10 books actually, 1 for each month of the school year. So each book will be a strategy, a self-regulation strategy that educators can use in the classroom. And then and I'm hoping to have lesson plans to go with each book as well, so that this month we're really practicing the iMessage and then that'll go into the next month. But now we're learning about self-talk or visualization or whatever comes up in the book.
Wow. I love it. So fantastic. Holy moly. And then you'll have to retire from teaching because this is going to
we'll see.
What advice do you have for other people that, like you, have, a need to get a book out there to help them maybe with curriculum or something else? But what advice would you give to somebody in your shoes 5 months ago?
I would say just write it down. And that was a really good piece of advice that I learned in your course, because these ideas were swirling in my mind and I was hesitant. Like I would start writing and I wouldn't finish the book, but I'd go back and change it and change it and change it. So I think the advice would be just keep writing until you finish it, and then you can go back and do the editing.
Yes.
Yeah. So just get it out there.
Yes, we do tend to edit as we go, right? Yeah, exactly. And then it doesn't get done. Yeah. So cool. So you're a week, like not even a week published.
No.
So I guess your life hasn't changed. Like I was going to say, how has your life changed?
Well, what I've really noticed is my community support. I put it out there and I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and all of my former colleagues, current colleagues, friends from the gym, people from home, so Nova Scotia and then Alberta and then here, are sharing it with the world, which is incredible. And I'm starting to think, okay, how do I get it out there? So I was looking at my online forums. So I'm in some school psychology forums, And this one incredible lady, she's near in New York actually. And I don't have too many friends in the States, but I messaged her personally and said, hey, I did this thing. And she said, great. She posted it on her forum, and there's about 33,000 US residents within that forum. And then I noticed it had already been shared 40 times, and I don't even know, which is amazing.
That's fantastic.
So it feels good to really be supported. And I think people love kids and dogs and strategies to help with big emotions and regulations. So
absolutely
exciting.
I think that I should have you on in 6 months, maybe with the second book, because I think like your world is just going to explode as far as people, right now you're like, I only know Canadians.
Yeah, exactly.
But I now talk with people, like in Guam, in Australia, in New Zealand, like
wow,
incredible, and it's all just book stuff, books bring us all together. And then there's such a fantastic indie author community that's so supportive. I think because we all are kind of bootstrapping it and figuring it out and dealing with the Zon, right? As we go. So yeah, so congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure to first, just chat with you, and then see you actually take the steps and follow through and be consistent. And, I know that you had a couple of minor setbacks, but
they were minor, but they felt major at the time. And that's another piece of advice I would give to, like, in the moment, it feels like a big deal, but now looking back, it wasn't a big deal. I was putting the pressure on myself. Nobody else was.
Yeah.
And really, honestly, I could not have gotten here without this course. And what's interesting is even this morning, somebody had messaged me on Instagram, a personal message, and I don't know her, but she was asking, she said, I have all these ideas about a book and kind of where I was a few months ago. And I said, don't worry, I was there. You need to get a hold of Lori. She's already been on your page. She's been doing research. And I said, these are the things you will learn through that course. And honestly, I think it would take me a few years without it. So I'm very thankful for you.
Oh, good. That really makes me so happy, because to me, it was a life-changing process. Getting my message out there for one thing, but then expanding my world so much and getting to meet so many people and help so many kids. And it's incredible what actually getting that book out there can do for you. So
yes,
I look forward to hearing. You're welcome. I look forward to seeing and hearing more from you. And I will absolutely share your book as well. I have to order it today. I've been meaning to do it all week because I knew we were talking. And then darn it.
That's okay.
And I'll share it as well. So
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, you know what? Share where people can find the book, or I'm not sure what your Instagram, who you are.
Yeah, so they can find it on Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, or anywhere Amazon is. It's in paperback and in ebook. Also, if you're local, you can contact me by email, angelamurphyauthor@gmail.com. You could also find me on Instagram, Angela Murphy Author, and then on Facebook, Angela Murphy Children's Author.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Writer's Way podcast. For show notes, links to guests' information, and to learn more about the Writer's Way, check out LoriWriter.com. Until next week, enjoy this chapter of your life.